Room in Your Heart. A Folktale from Bhutan. Original story by Kungsan Chodin. Illustrated by Pema Shering. To the east of Thimphu and west of Trongsa, somewhere among the mountains high, lived an old woman in a little house. A grey cat, a yellow dog, and a brown speckled hen lived with her and shared her hearth. One evening, as the sun went down, the shadows grew tall and the dinner simmered on the stove. A gentle voice suddenly called out, "Night is falling. Is there room for me?" A ragged monk in robes of red stood at her door. The old woman welcomed him in and gave him a place of honor near the altar. She stirred a pot on the stove and was about to serve the food when a hurried voice exclaimed, "This letter must reach Trongsa without delay, but my calves are on fire. I am tired and must rest a while. Is there room for me?" An impatient young man with bulging thighs stood at the door. His name was Gerba Longi Korlo, the courtier with wheels of wind. The old woman welcomed him in. She hung up her tea-churn on a peg on the wall and made space for Gerba Longi Korlo. Then she went back to stirring the dinner pot, when a loud voice called, "I have lost my yak. Now it's too dark to see and I have nowhere else to go. Is there room for me?" A woman with rosy cheeks wrapped in a yak hair cloak stood at the door. The old woman welcomed her in. She cleared a space under her shelf and the visitor gratefully took her place. Finally, the old woman was ready to serve dinner, but there were more voices at the door. "Our donkeys refuse to move one more step. We have pushed him far too hard, and now his poor old legs are worn out. We have to stop here tonight. Is there room for me?" 2 men and a donkey stood at the door. The old woman looked at all her guests and cheerfully said, "Come on in and do your best." So the men squeezed in. They were just in time to share the dinner in her pot. She ladled out the contents. One got a single bit of turnip leaf, another a tiny piece of bone, another got a drop of soup, and so on. The guests savored their dinner and licked their bowls clean. Fed and rested, they thanked the old woman. "You have such a small house, and yet you managed to fit us all in. How did you do that?" they wondered aloud. The old woman smiled a cheery smile, but it was the gentle monk who spoke. "There will always be room in your home as long as there is room in your heart." The end. Thank you for listening to Storytime with Gargi. Like and subscribe down below.